Hi folks, I'm Tristan for NoiseGate. Today we're taking a look at Opal, which is a brand new software instrument by Universal Audio. This is part of their Spark collection of native plugins, and it's kind of a big deal for them because it's the first time they've created a completely original software instrument. They have previously done emulations of mini Moogs and pianos, and they did a bit of a Rumpler instrument for their Luna platform, but this is a completely original, from the ground up software synth, and frankly, they've really knocked it out of the park. It sounds great, it's really easy to use, it looks great. Granted, they're not exactly reinventing the wheel with this one, but they're not trying to. It's more of your desert island synth, so it does virtual analog and wavetable, so it's super versatile. But most important of all, it does sound great. Okay, nice and big and fat. I'm just going to back off that volume a little bit. So like I say, each of the oscillators has an analog and a wavetable mode. I won't go through all the wavetables right now. I'll throw a bit of a demo at the end if you want to hear what they sound like, but let's focus on the analog oscillators for the time being. So as you can hear, they sound nice and thick and analog. There's a bit of detuning here. Let's just get rid of that though and have a listen to them completely raw. As you can hear, even with the detuning off, there's still a bit of movement. It still sounds alive and analog. So I guess they programmed in a bit of artificial oscillator drift, and that just really helps to make things sound thick and natural and analog. But let's add that detuning back in. And each oscillator has at the bottom these ensemble controls, which is like a unison effect. Alright, so we've already got a pretty big sound just out of two basic sawtooth oscillators, but let's bring in oscillator 3. And it has this sub-oscillator which can be either 1 or 2 octaves beneath. And it even has its own ensemble effect. Okay, so things are sounding pretty big and fat already. At the top of the screen, there's some interesting sort of audio rate modulation options. For starters, we can use oscillator 2 to modulate the frequency of oscillator 1. Sounds pretty cool. And then we can use oscillator 3 to modulate the amplitude of oscillator 2. Okay, so we got some pretty monstrous sounds already, just playing around with the basic oscillator options, plus a bit of audio rate modulation. But let's move over to the filter section, because it's really interesting the way it's laid out. It's infinitely variable, so we can rotate this dial to morph it between low pass, high pass, then through to band pass and notch. Then it comes back to low pass again. Plus we have variable resonance and slope as well, and slope affects the different modes pretty interestingly. So between the slope and the resonance and the cutoff and the different modes, you can even get sort of interesting vowel filter types of sounds. No dedicated overdrive section in the filter, but in between the two filters, which you can of course run in series or parallel, we do get an insert effect option, one of which is overdrive. Of course, there's a dedicated filter envelope here. Okay, good thing sounding pretty gnarly here. The other thing interesting I noticed is this sort of macro header section at the top, including this mod wheel control. So this defaults to vibrato, controlled by your keyboard's mod wheel. And you can turn that off here if you don't want it. But you can route this to whatever you want. If you go into the mod matrix section, we can choose our mod wheel as the modulation source, and then change the destination to anything you want, like filter cutoff frequency. increase the amount. Now our mod wheel is controlling the filter cutoff, and you can just rename this whatever you want. Let's call it filter. Okay, so really simple sort of macro section, but really practical and functional as well. Now I'm just going to play through a couple of the presets to give you an idea of how some of those different wavetables sound and the different analog waveforms. Okay, well, thanks for watching. This has been a quick first look at Universal Audio's new Opal synth. Please leave any questions or comments down below and stay tuned for more videos coming soon.